Hello, my name is Veer Mistry. I'm a senior at McKinney-Boyd High School, and I'm doing an independent study on computer science. And I really admire the way you guys are keeping stuff local, and that's probably one of my main goals as well.
Okay. Well, I've got questions for you. When you talk about doing things with purpose, are there specific examples of purpose that you find kind of inspiring?
I've always been involved in like my community. What pushed you to start your own business, and what were the events that led up to it?
Yeah. So this is probably a good story. I think every company has some kind of origin story. It starts with how can you get a small group of people to join in the path you want to take. So building those leadership skills, or at least having opportunities to bring people together and have a shared goal, that's really step one. So when you're talking about how can you help in your community, you know, you can be doing Habitat for Humanity, you could do anything. What can you do to get a group of people which all have different desires in life, to be able to be working on the same project together with that shared goal? And when you do that, then you can really achieve a lot.
One of the purposes for taking this class is to make connections. So I
Yeah.
guess as I'm going through, I'm kind of doing that, right? On your portfolio, you guys, where you've made web systems for the official state of Texas, you've made working data services for the Texas Health and Human Services, you developed APIs for National Instruments in Austin. How are you guys able to work so integrally with our state and local community?
In my personal experience with working with the government, it was about 20 years experience. We went from being able to have very one-on-one type partnerships with the individuals in the government to create products that help them do their job more efficiently. As time went on, you would see more bureaucratic processes come into place. And if you've ever seen that happen, it's amazing what just adding a few meetings to the schedule does to your productivity. Pretty soon you get like 2 and 3 and 4 layers away from the business owners, or the people that actually need your product. Kind of the life lesson for me is seeing the inverse of things going really well from a nice, naturally agile relationship with your customer, and then growing to a more bureaucratic process. When you're asking how do you develop those relationships in the public sector, it really comes, I think, it comes down to personal relationships where you can make a decision to set a goal and do it in spite of the bureaucracy and break through that process.
So as a CEO, you play a very important role in this company. If you're able to, could you provide me a brief overview of your responsibilities and day-to-day tasks?
I see myself as helping to provide some, at least my vision for the company, but I don't see myself as having the only vision for the company. So we work with like the managing partners. We'll make sure that we all have a consensus on what's next for the company. Our goal is, for the most part, learn from what we've seen in life so far that we don't like, bureaucratic processes and working for the government. We seek out opportunities with a heavy focus on startups and organizations who are trying to make things more efficient and kind of streamline things. That's our key. That's what makes us happy, is building things that are more efficient and really producing a value to a customer. We like the fact that people pay us to do stuff for them that they enjoy. Yeah. I mean, that's great. So that's the kind of relationship where it's not just a job, that we're looking at making people's lives better, even if it's silly things like just making things run more efficiently. That sounds kind of generic, but every day, I mean, everyone's interfacing with technology every day. Mm-hmm. So regardless of what they're doing with technology, those frustrations kind of build up, and those frustrations are things we like to solve. So
it should be more like doing a favor for your friend rather than getting a task done for your quota.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way of putting it. I like that.
How did you find that motivation to like take a jump from like, a stable comp side job to doing it on your own?
Well, in our case, it was pretty much sort of just the random chance of things coming together. Our contract with the state of Texas came to an end, And we looked around and we said, we spent the last 20 years putting this great team together. It'd be a shame to lose it. So that's when the previous company helped incubate Sparkfish and helped us get off the ground. So we kind of have our own vision, and sometimes you need to spin off to really be successful. And that's really Sparkfish was more or less, you can think of it as a spin-off. Those are things that, are blessings when you look back.
It also said on your LinkedIn that you started out as an art major and then you switched into computer science. I actually like to do art myself. I sell a few pieces here and there, and I really enjoy that ability that computer science gives you to like really create your own thing. But it's not just art. It's not just like a visual thing. It's something that serves people. So I feel like it gives that left-brained individuals like ourselves that ability to really create. And how do you feel that we provide a fresh perspective to computer science?
Your question, I think, is what's the relationship between art, or what's the benefit to computer science for people that have more of an art perspective? I look at programming as an art. I think of it almost as poetry. I think one of the hardest things you'll come to find with software, the more difficult thing is reading other people's software. You spend a lot of time, if you're working in a team, reading software, not just writing it. And in order to understand what someone else has written, it has to be clearly written. The more complex it is, not only is it harder to run and build and maintain, but it's harder just to understand. So art, in a way, is about communication. And so to me, when you're developing software, you think of it as a way of, I'm communicating to the person that's reading this, not just to create a program. So that's to me probably the biggest relationship there is, how do I create something that someone else will appreciate when they read my code?
You have SQL, you have like UX, UI development, you have cloud structured programming, all that, app development. How do you manage to keep up with all these developments, and how do you keep your company in the limelight?
So there's this thing about hiring, not only hiring, but also just in self-improvement. Do you want to be a generalist, or do you want to be a specialist? And the answer is you need a team. There's going to be individuals in a team which have generalist capabilities. I'm more of a generalist. And then there's individuals in our team which are specialists. And as a team, we use what we call, a lot of people call this a cross-functional team. So cross-functional teams allow different talents to weigh in. And one of those things that when we build teams is making that recipe of technical skill, but also personal skill. But if you can't communicate together, then you can't really get to that bottom line of what needs to be implemented. So when you're figuring out like all these technologies, you're pulling together for a particular project individuals that kind of overlap and meet that need, and then making sure you've got personalities that kind of go well together. That's really one of the secrets to running a business and creating a business, is creating a set of individuals that kind of work well together, work productively together. I was on a call just the other day, and I just commented, it's like, isn't it nice? Everyone on this call, we just get along. And when you can just get along and not argue over things, you're able to work through differences of opinion because you understand each other have the same goal. So that's one of the key recipes, and just having that cross-functional team allows you to have specialties within all these little verticals that come together for each project.
And you guys provide so much, and you guys said that you guarantee, like, what was it, less than half the price of the competitors?
Part of the philosophy of our company is that if you want to get things done, you want to do it with the smallest, lightest, leanest team you can. So 2 or 3 people can do something much more efficiently, much more cost effectively than what a bigger team is going to do. And larger organizations, they don't have the same level of skill within the team. They have to just hire someone based off of keywords in their resume. They're not really as building out the skill sets within the team. And so when you build a team where you've got everyone that's basically, you may see the phrase, a small team of experts. That's basically the idea. As long as everyone can pull their weight on a project, then that's efficient. And that's really how you reduce your costs when you're putting something together. Not only can you do it faster because you've got less meetings to, get everyone on the same page, but you've got individuals that are competent in the skill that they're bringing to the table, and they're able to do it more quickly to meet the needs of the customer. It's just one of the things. The more people you add to a team, the more that they're idle, because you have to wait on someone else to talk in a meeting. You can't all be doing something. You can't all be talking. So team size and competency is kind of how you get to that point. And really, small, lean companies are how you achieve that. Bigger consulting companies make their money through bodies. Basically, the more bodies they can put on a team, well, that's just more dollars. So, the big name consulting firms, that's how they make their money. We're more motivated about just doing a good job. Like, money's not the biggest factor for us. If money was the biggest factor, we might not go into business for ourselves.
You get to have a family environment with your coworkers.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, it is true. You build stronger relationships because you feel like you're part of this together.
What type of industries reach out to you guys the most?
So I would say 50% or more are startup oriented. And when you say startup oriented, it means like any kind of crazy idea you can imagine, people come to us with. I'd like to be able to do this. I'd like to be able to do that. And a lot of times people have great ideas, but they don't have the funding, or they don't have like the partnership organization around them to kind of put it together. And we've had it where we would have a conversation, and then a year later, someone would come back to us and say, okay, we got the funding. So you got to have to plant those seeds and invest in those opportunities as they come up. Honestly, those are the more exciting projects to me, because the scope is more limited. You can focus on a specific goal and kind of focus on achieving that goal. The other side of that is kind of corporate world. And those are typically insurance and healthcare that we kind of get into. Those verticals come to us mostly because that's where we've got a lot of healthcare experience.
Thank you for your participation. I really appreciate the advice you've given to me. It means a lot, and I'll definitely keep it in mind as I move forward.